my virtual environment, I've gone to a my environment folder, which has these three environments. Okay, and then I run source bin source pi to flask m, which is the name of the environment, and then bin/activate. Okay, so this will load the virtual environment. You can tell that I successfully loaded the virtual environment because this part changes to pi to flask m. Okay, the name of the virtual environment. Now, if I want to get out of the virtual environment, I can just deactivate it by typing deactivate.
So you can customize the name of your.
Yes, you will be creating your virtual environments and then running your installation, like pip install whatever, to install those things, the packages you want for the virtual environment, and in that making of it process, you name it. Okay, so the platform I think tells you to name it pi to flask m. All right, so I'll load it back again. Now, if you remember, this is my file structure, right? So, bad accent. Okay, so I am inside my virtual environment, right? Now I need to, I can always go into here to load the virtual environment, and then I will actually go up a layer, and then go into like my 02 Flask fundamentals folder, and then I can make a project here. Okay, I do not recommend you make your projects in your virtual environments folder, right? Your virtual environments folder, my_env, should just be for environments. Okay, and then you have a separate folder for your projects. You just have to navigate between the two. Okay, it doesn't matter that you're in a different folder that the environment is not in. All right, so now if I want to make a new environment, I'm actually also going to give you guys my cheat sheet. So this is my cheat sheet, which I personally use whenever I want to remember the syntax and have sort of forgotten what it is. Okay, so this is how you activate the environment, the virtual environment. Okay, you can do this check if you want to import, if you want to check whether Flask is available in your environment, and then this is what the file structure of Flask will look like. Okay, so this looks like a lot of files, but in reality, you actually only need this. Okay. All the static stuff is just if you want CSS and JavaScript and images and stuff. Okay, so it's really a very simple file structure, right? It's just a server.py and like an HTML files. Okay, so I basically just need to make this file structure. Okay, so I'm first going to, I already have my project, or no, I don't have my project. I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to call it lecture demo. Okay, so there's my lecture demo. I'm going to go into this directory. It's empty. Okay, I'll make another directory. I'm going to call it templates. Okay, and then I'm going to also make a file here called server.py. Okay, and I'm going to go into my templates, and I'm going to make a file called index.html. Okay, and these will both be empty right now. Okay. So if I look at my file structure again, this is what it looks like, right? I have my project, and then I have a templates folder and with a server.py next to it, and inside my templates folder, I have whatever HTML file I make. Okay. All right. So then the code you're going to need is this code here. Okay. So I'm going to copy this over first, then I'll explain what each of these lines does. Okay. So this by itself will run the application. Okay. So let me run it first, and then I'll explain. So if I were to do Python, I need to go up a layer. Right. Okay. Python server.py. Okay. This starts my server. So my server is up and running now. Okay. I'm running this file server.py. But really what that means is that because I'm importing Flask, right, Flask is just starting a server, okay? So if I then go to this link, localhost 5000, okay, it says hello world. Okay, so this is like a very, very, very basic web application, basically, okay? Of course, like a real website, you'd have to deploy it, but this could be the extent of the code for a web application. So what this does is I'm importing Flask, the framework, okay, so I can have access to it. This is basically setting up an application using Flask, okay, and this is just the the syntax you're going to use for it. Okay, it's saying like I have an app, and I'm going to call the flask method of flask class. I'm basically going to create it, so it creates my framework, and then I'm going to set a specific route for it. Okay, so this is where I was talking about the slash, right? So I am going to localhost 5000, which has no further URL, which basically means I'm going to localhost 5000 slash. If I were to try to go here, it would say not found, okay, because I don't have that path. But if I were to say change this to ASDF, right, and then reload the page, then now ASDF URL goes to the page. Okay, so here the way that Flask is structured, okay, is that the method directly underneath the route is the one that the route's going to point to. Okay, when you work with more complicated frameworks, this will not be the case. Okay, but right now for Flask, it's just the method that's directly underneath. Okay, so because it comes in this order, we go to /ASDF, it's going to run this particular method. I can call this method whatever I want, but it's just called hello world. You want to call it appropriate to what that path is, or some sort of descriptor. Okay, so usually for like the slash route, you would probably want to call it like index. Okay, but this one's called hello world. All right, so what I want to do for the hello world is I'm just going to try to return the text. Okay, hello world, and that's why we see the hello world on the page. Okay, you will need this statement at the end of all of your code. Okay, it just sets this debug mode for running Flask. Okay, and that's basically it. All right, so I'm actually, even though I created this index.html file, I'm actually not using it right now. So I didn't even need to create it at this point. Like I could have just had that server.py file. Okay, but we're gonna add something to use this. So I'm gonna change this to hi, this is my index page. Okay, and then if I want to point to this HTML file rather than just putting the text I want to display directly on the web page, you can use this code right here. Okay, so the way this is organized, this is a cheat sheet I made for Flask. I will send this out as well. Okay, this first part is like setting up your app, and then I have a part on the SQL. Okay, so you can skip over this part, the SQL part for now. Okay, so you scroll down to that, then you have your get routes. Okay, here is the code that I want. Okay, I'm going to do a render template. So if I go to here, I'm going to render template. Okay, what it means is it's going to go and find, render template already looks for an HTML file inside the templates directory. Okay, so that's why you have to have a templates directory that you create in advance. Okay, and it's going to find the file called index.html. Okay, so this will point to this file that I've created, and if I refresh the page and go to the slash route again,
I need to import.
yes, you do have to import it. So it will say global name render template is not defined. Okay, and so hopefully you see this, then you recognize it doesn't know what the render template method is. Okay, and so I've also provided for you inside the cheat sheet at the top. Okay, different things you may want to render. Different things you may want to import. Okay, so one of them is to import render template. Okay, so you need to stick this at the front of what you're importing, and so this way you'll import both Flask and the render template method. And you go here, you reload the page, and then you're able to load your page. For HTML tags, yeah, you should. I just kind of skipped it. If you leave tags out, a lot of times the browsers will just put some in for you. So if you were to do an inspect here, I believe you would probably see something. Are you gonna see something? Yeah, it just input a body tag for me, basically. So it'll just like try to guess what you think you need and put it in there. But you should. Yeah. All right. Any questions?
Name part. Yeah. So if you put a name flag, if you put name there, it's gonna tell the class to run file.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
I think.
You put tell it to import as a module?
I actually would have to look at the Flask documentation specifically to tell you that. I don't know. I think for everything you guys are doing, this is how you guys will be doing it. I think there's just other modes that you can run Flask in, and other different parameters you can pass it, which we would have to look at the documentation to find out what it would do. Yeah.
I just understand the
So why it does this?
Yeah, the variable name tells it whether or not we're running the project or
As a module.
So,
We can look it up. This might get kind of complicated, but we can look at Flask documentation. All right. Talks about micro. Talks about virtual environment means. Mode. This might take us a while to find. Yeah, we can look into it later and try to figure it out, but I think it would probably take a while to find out right now. Yeah. Okay, stretching. All right, any other questions? Okay. All right. Great. Yeah, hopefully that's enough to get you guys started. Yeah.